Well, welcome back, and we thank you for joining us again this week as we continue to go through some of the ministries that we have at Crosspoint Community Church, some of the things that are going on in our church, and we're excited to continue to make these videos to help explain to you and just kind of scratch the surface of what's going on at Crosspoint, and to kind of start discussions about not just in your small groups, but outside your small groups with other people about, hey, here's what's happening, some different things that are going on at Crosspoint Community Church. So today, we're talking about men's ministry and the vitalness of that, the importance of that. And so I'm going to throw it over to Danny and let him kind of just talk about this a little bit as we start today.
A lot of different aspects of the men's ministry, and one of them is service projects. And we do things at clean up at Valley Vista and Grandview Suits. We do also for individuals. We've done yard cleanup and different places like that. And it's just a good time to be able to just do the work for other people and showing God's love through that. And that's part of our church. And being a disciple of Jesus Christ, just is one of the things. Is just going out and performing and doing work and serving other people. So in men's ministry, we really value that.
And Michael, what do you think?
Well, I think, the life on life work that we do and the service projects and the relationships that are built there and the committing to a task. A lot of guys like to have that task start and finish. And one of the tasks we've been charged with is to make disciples, like you were talking about. And that means that they're equipped to equip other men. And you can see that easily when you do a service project. It's a lot more difficult when it comes to life-on-life work that we do. And we have a lot of tools, a lot of books, a lot of... we created our own discipleship program a couple years ago about scripture memory and how to share your faith. And then the regular, like we said, life on life, with sitting with someone through tough times, walking through challenges with them, and hoping that as we pray with people, they continue to grow. But then there's intentional Bible study as well that we have. The one that we spend a lot of time on is called EMA, Every Man a Warrior, not every man a wildcat, but every man a warrior, that is helping men understand how to have a love relationship with Jesus, how to make their lives count through Bible study, through being held accountable, again, through scripture memory, and how to handle finances, and then for men who are married and have children, how to speak life into people. And that's what I see as the biggest struggle for men, is we tend to repeat the original sin of Adam, of being silent. And as men, we're called to speak into this darkness, not just acknowledge it and then avoid it, but to engage it. And I think our passage today from James 1, it jolts my heart every time I read about caring for orphans and widows, and then remaining unstained from this world as you engage in that struggle. So men's ministry is, I think, God has given men a responsibility that we want to shirk off, and that is to continually engage in the brokenness and the hurt and the pain. And we'd rather go watch football games, or we'd rather go work in our shop. And I'm speaking for myself. And ironically, one of the things we do to build camaraderie is not say these things in our culture are bad, such as video games, or football games, or turkey shooting like we do. We say we can still enjoy these things that men are supposed to do in our culture, but we're going to make Jesus central.
And I think men's ministry is just a vital part of any church. It should be a vital part of any discipleship program. Men are to step into certain roles in the church and to be just a vital part of continuing to help with the teaching and the leading, and just as women's ministry is vital to a church, men's ministry is just as vital to a church. And we'd love to see more men step into different areas that we have going on. With Bible studies, especially, we have men's group on Tuesday mornings at 6 o'clock at the Ironclad, and we'd love for more men to start coming to that. And I love the verses where it talks about iron sharpening iron in Proverbs and how that works. And it's hard for that iron to be sharpened when you're not with other people to help you do that. And God has called you into a group of community. I think that's one thing about men is sometimes we want to do these things as almost like lone rangers rather than really diving into community. Understanding community as men is vital for our spiritual growth. A lot of times we think we can either do it on our own, or we don't need others, or we have this persona about different things like that. And really we need to dive into some of these groups and get involved and have community around us and have other men around us, and then grow in that and then be able to be the ones that are going to speak into that. So there's a growth process in discipleship to where we'd love for men to grow to a certain point that they begin to speak life into other men, into other maybe high school students, different things like that, because we have different programs that we have with high school students where you can get plugged into to be a mentor and different things like that to some of our young men. It's just vital in a church to be able to grow like it's supposed to be what it's supposed to be. And so I encourage you to have a discussion about this, to see the vitalness of this. And the verses that we'd love for you to dive into today, 1 Corinthians 16:13. It is so good. It's very concise, very precise on what it says, where you're supposed to be watchful. And that's where we need to be that as a church, to be watchful, especially in the culture that we live in. What is truth and understanding truth and standing for the truth? And it says stand firm right in those verses. And so we're to stand firm, and then we're to act like men. That's what it says. Plain and simple, act like men. And I love that small three little words, but at the same time, so vital for a church to understand that men and women have roles. God has created us uniquely, but equally. And as we walk through this as a church, act like men and be strong and be courageous in those things that we are doing as a church. And then James 1:27 is another great scripture, as Michael referred to dive into what true religion looks like. A true relationship is what it means in a relationship with Jesus Christ. The care for orphans and widows and a purity that we're to have as a church, as women of the church, but also as men of the church. We live in an extremely impure world, and we are to stand for purity all over the place in the world that we live in. And there's so many different aspects that we need to be in that as a church. To stand for righteousness, the righteousness of God, and to stand in a world that is impure for the purity of what we're supposed to be as a church. So I encourage you to dive into this as a small group, talk about the vitalness of this, and we hope to see you next week.